All right, everyone, welcome to the new payment reconciliation and escalations training, or PRE. If you've seen that on the abundance of emails that have come from Boost, that have come from VHA, as you guys, I hopefully are well aware that they have changed their reconciliation and escalations training. So today we're going to go over that and give you all the different aspects of it. Sound good? All right. So the purpose, why is Boost changing up the system? The reason that they're using this new tool is to help streamline the process of escalating any discrepancies on the commission payouts for device reimbursements and commissions. Basically, the old process takes a while. And it can be confusing at times. There's a lot of different parts to it. The purpose of this new tool is to streamline everything. So our goal today is what I want to do is review the new PRE process with you to ensure that you guys are fully equipped with all the knowledge, all the tools, everything that you need to follow Boost's new escalation process. So with that, I am going to be giving you guys a lot of information. And what we are going to do is we are going to hold off on any questions until the end. I slated a ton of time at the end, so don't worry. But as we're going through it, I want to cover all of the materials because some of your questions might get answered later on. So we'll start there and then hold your questions. I'll let you know when we can start figuring things out. I might not have all of the answers to everything, and anything we don't have, we will absolutely get back to you and communicate anything that's missing. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Today, we are going to talk about how to identify a discrepancy. We're going to talk about how to submit an escalation. Also, how to submit a missing transaction. And then we're going to review some FAQs that have come up already in the process. So I want to make sure that you guys leave here with the key steps to identify and address any discrepancies in your transactions. I want to make sure that you guys are clear on the new process to submit an escalation. I also want to make sure you guys know what to do when there is a missing transaction so we can get that resolved, and then fill you in on some of the other questions and clarifications that are needed in this process. Sound good? All right. So let's talk about how to identify a discrepancy. So this is when you're going to be comparing whatever store data you use, if that's Elevate, if that's something else, whatever data you have on the sales that have been run through your store, and then you compare that with the ePay data to show, hey, okay, what's missing here, or what is different between the two reports. So the first thing you want to do is make sure you have clear data coming in through the store. Again, whether that's through Elevate, if you track some other things on Excel, pad and paper, whatever you do, no shame. Just make sure that you have clear data from your store that you can then cross-reference with the ePay data. Another best practice is to make sure that you check commission frequently. If you can check it every day, that's amazing. If you end up doing it, a couple times a week, that's awesome. I recommend no longer than once a week because then start snowballing and stacking on top of each other. Just takes a long time to review the data. I know your guys' time is very valuable, and I don't know about you. Start to look much, my eyes just start crossing and I start missing things. So the best thing to do is to make sure that you're checking it frequently. Another thing that has come up as we've been reviewing discrepancies with dealers is sometimes customers will come in and they'll activate a device and then they'll come back for whatever reason, and they might either swap the device or maybe their phone number needs to be switched. So when you're checking commission, make sure that you're also checking not just the ESN, but you're also checking the PTN, the phone number for the customer, and also the subscriber ID, which I will show you guys. If you don't, I'll show you in ePay how to find that. Why is that important? Because when customers swap out a device, whether it's an RMA defective phone issue or for whatever reason they need to change their phone number, in the reporting that Boost then tells you what you've been paid out on. If they swap the ESN, well, guess what? That first ESN is no longer going to show as earning commission. It's now going to be under that second ESN. So I know it might seem like a little bit of a process, but if you are finding that you're missing some payments, double check using the ESN, the phone number, and searching by the subscriber ID. And that should help you see just in case there are any phone swaps or phone number changes or anything like that. And again, I'll show you where to find all of that data in ePay's reporting. The last thing that we also have, I'm going to give a little bit of a plug here. If you guys have our VHA dealer dashboard, we have completely revamped a commission dashboard and reporting within there that will automatically show you, hey, these are the things that you should have been paid out for that we are not finding payment for. And we automatically do the cross-referencing of the ESN, the phone number, and the subscriber ID. So that does save you some time. So if you don't have the dealer dashboard, you're curious about it, go ahead and reach out to your account manager about it. That can also really help cut down on the time spent checking commissions. So let's talk about what the new PRE process is. If you're seeing this PRE acronym everywhere, again, that's the Payment and Reconciliation Escalation process. It's a mouthful, so we say PRE. So the first thing that you want to do, like we just talked about, is you want to be able to identify discrepancies. So you're going to use your store data, Elevate, ePay, your VHA dashboard. That's going to help you identify any discrepancies. Now, next, if it's applicable, then you're going to submit a missing transaction. So let's say you're seeing, hey, we did this activation in the store. I'm not seeing it in the ePay data. That means that there's a missing transaction in there. Maybe you had to call customer care to push a port through. Not uncommon. So if that's applicable, I will show you in ePay how to submit that missing transaction. If that's needed, go ahead and do that. If not, you're just going to go straight into submitting an escalation. And that's going to be through ePay. I will show you how to do that. They've made it really concise, so you can submit your escalations nice and easily. And additionally, in ePay, this is where you're able to follow up on the status, where you can check on the status of that escalation. So identify discrepancies, submit a missing transaction if that's needed. Then go ahead and submit an escalation and follow up on the status. Now, a couple of notes that I want to make here is you might be thinking, hey, I'm with VHA. You guys have a CAP program, a commission appeals program. What happens with that? We are still doing the same commission appeals program. So we are still escalating things on your behalf. And there might be things that we miss because, again, we're using Elevate data, ePay data, all of that. We might miss some things that you have logged in maybe a separate store system or on your own. There might just be things that we've missed. So I do encourage all of you to still reconcile on your own. I will also show you, you'll be able to see what specifically we have reconciled. So I do recommend you take ownership of this process. We will still be doing our thing on the back end to submit those escalations that we find as well. Another important note about these escalations, when you go to submit either a missing transaction or an escalation, it must be submitted within 15 to 90 days of the activation. So if you can't submit anything before 15 days and you can't submit it after 90 days. So again, we're looking at that 15 to 90 day window. Now you might be asking yourself, okay, so what about something like a 4th month retention? We're obviously outside of that 90-day activation period. So what happens with that? This a logic follows for something like a monthly commission like that. Let's say the customer activates August 1st. Their 4th month payment is going to be due around the 1st of November. So assuming the customer has made their payments, all of their payments, then you want to submit the missing 4th month retention 15 to 90 days of that November 1st payment date. So I want to make sure I'm clear on that. 4 things that get paid out monthly: your 2nd month incentive, 3rd month, 4th month bounties. For all of those, the 15 to 90 day window starts from when that payment should have been received. So again, if that's clear, go ahead, make a note, and we'll cover it all when we ask more questions. But I want to make sure that that is clear. So when you, I'm going to walk you through now ePay and where to find some of this data. With the identifying discrepancies, we're going to be using the report in ePay called Commission Payment Detail. So we're going to review that together. When it comes to submitting an escalation, we are also going to be using ePay, and I will show you some different tools within ePay. For both missing a transaction and escalation and following up on ePay. So with that, let's go ahead and get into ePay. All right, I want to do a quick check in here. Are you guys able to see that I'm using the ePay portal now? Are you guys able to see that on my screen? Great, awesome. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. Okay, so I want you to look. This is ePay. One of the things that I want to point out that I would for you to see is this says on the side that this is the multi-door owner portal. That is quite a mouthful. This is for dealers that have multiple doors. So they have access to something called a multi-door owner portal. If you are an owner that has one door, you still can also get access to this. Now, you might be asking yourself, why do I want access to this? I have one door. Well, here's the benefit. With web posts, your typical ePay where you take your payments, in order for you to access that, you have to be in the store. That ePay portal is locked to your IP address, so you have to be viewing it through the store. However, with a multi-door owner portal, you can access that anywhere, just as long as you have internet connection. So for those of you that are either single owner doors that might not know that you have access to this, for any multi-door owners that are like, oh, I think I maybe have a username, I don't really remember this, I really recommend using this portal for it because you can access this from everywhere. So you don't have to physically be in the store in order to submit your escalations. If you're concerned of like, hey, I don't know if I have a login, or I think I have a username, I don't know my password, you can reach out to our customer service team. You can reach out to your account manager to get that for you. If you happen to know your username, you can just click on the forget password link. So again, if you want to be able to submit escalations outside of the store, this multi-door owner portal is going to be the to do that. The other thing that I want to point out when you're doing this is to make sure that you are using Google Chrome. Google Chrome is the only browser that has full functionality for this process. So we love a good Safari, we love a Microsoft Edge, and for this, it's Google Chrome only. So if you're having any issues with any parts of the process, just check and make sure that you've launched it on Google Chrome. If for some reason you're still having some issues with parts of this process, go ahead and clear your history in your cache, and that should reset anything. So let's talk about how to identify a discrepancy. Where do you do that in ePay? So in this system, I'm going to go here to the Commissions tab, and I'm going to go straight down here to Commission Payment Detail. This first report right here. There's all sorts of different filtering that you can do, and this is going to give you all of the details for the all the payments for the store. For the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and put some dates in here. So let's say I'm doing this once a week, and let's say I'm reconciling last week. I'll put in that August 18th through August 24th. If you are an owner that is looking for a specific serial number, a specific IMEI, you can absolutely plug that in. In this case, we're not, because I want to reconcile everything. If you are a dealer that has multiple doors, they are all going to show up here. All of the terminal IDs are going to show up here. In this case, we are going to select one. And we are going to go up here and click Run Report, and that is going to pull everything within the time frame that I set. So we'll give it a sec while ePay thinks about this. And here we go. So this gives all of the information of all the payments that you have received as a dealer. Gives you the payment date, company name, address, your dealer ID. We look here, it gives you the payment type. So what month payment you received? Is it a new activation bounty for month 3? Is it an auto top-up payment? Is it a SIM card reimbursement? It is going to tell you exactly what payment type is here. For anything that is a month 2 or higher, it also is nice and gives you the activation date, so you can always go back and look at the activation if something is off or missing for you. Earlier, I mentioned that subscriber ID. This is customer ID, subscriber ID. This is the same thing. So if you ever need to search by subscriber ID or customer ID, it's in this column right here. You also get the ESN, the IMEI, the plan, if it's applicable, phone number, and then it gives you the amount that you received. So you're able to see what the actual payout was. So this commission payment detail, this is going to be the best one to use when you're cross-referencing it with the data you have for your store to make sure that nothing is missing. So let's say you've cross-referenced this and now you found something that doesn't line up and you're like, wait a second, I'm missing something. Let's walk through how to submit a missing transaction. So going over here, you're going to now use the Dish Activation tab, and we're going to go here to this first one, the Dish Payment Status Report. And here, you're going to be able to pull up another report here. And before you do that, you'll notice up here, there's a Run Report button, there's a Download Report button, and there's now also a Dish Missing Transaction button. So let's say you found a transaction that was missing that is not showing up in this commission payment detail report. So something must have happened. What might have happened? Maybe you guys had to call care for some reason to push through an activation, push through a port. Something happened during the activation process that you needed to call care. There could be some other reasons why a transaction isn't showing up. So what you want to do is you need to make sure that Boost knows, hey, that transaction belongs to you. That's not a care transaction. So you're going to click on this button here. Again, we're under the Dish Payment Status Report. We're going to click here under Transaction Submission. And what you're going to do is you're going to select the date the transaction happened. You're going to select what type of transaction it was. Was it an activation? Was it an upgrade? Your business name should already be selected, and you will need to go into the individual store for it.
What time?
And then you are going to input, you must input the IMEI. Must. This will not let you continue without it. You can input the PTN if you don't want to, you don't have to. It is also helpful if you do, so it's recommended. It is not required. And then the last thing is you want to include any comments about it. So for example, there is an issue with the port with this device, so we had to call care to push the port through. Whatever reasoning that it might be that the transaction didn't show up under you, you want to include that here. You are not able to attach anything, so you can't attach any screenshots or pictures or anything, so you will need to write everything out. And then once that is complete, you will go ahead and click OK, and that will submit that over. We reviewed the submitting a missing transaction report. Again, that's under this Dish Payment Status Report. You click up here to submit any missing transactions.
Martha, can I make a question?
Absolutely, yes. If it's a question, I will have questions at the end.
Perfect.
Does that work? Yeah, write them down and I'll answer any questions at the end. So how do we submit an escalation? So what you're going to do is within the Dish Payment Status Report, you are going to select whatever terminal ID it is for whichever store of yours it is. If you have a single store, it's going to select it automatically. If you have more than one, you will want to make sure that you select the right store. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go up here and you are going to, let's set some parameters in here. Otherwise, I don't want it to take too long to pull. So we'll check this week and you're going to click Run Report. Great. So this now shows you a record of all of the payments that have been made to the store. Now, one of the nice things here is that it gives you all of this information. Again, similar information to the commission payment detail, the PTN, the IMEI, activation date, the plan they were on. I want you to pay really close attention. There are two really important columns here. The first one is reimbursement status, and the second one is commission status. The really nice thing that Boost has done in this improvement and in this new process is that they have identified already potential discrepancies, so it makes it a lot easier for you guys to find. Now, what you're going to do is in this, I like to click on the reimbursement so I can sort and filter all the discrepancies at the top. Now, I want to make a distinction here. We've got the reimbursement column and we also have the commission column as well. What is the difference? The reimbursement, these are going to be the devices that you've activated that have some spiff on them. So any type of device reimbursement are going to show up here. Any discrepancy that's for commission, that's going to be your bounties, your auto top up, those types of things. That is going to show up under the commission status. So reimbursements are phone reimbursements, commission, these are going to be your bounties. Within these columns, there are several different statuses that you might see. One you might see is pending. That means the payment is still pending. Paid, that means, woohoo, you already got paid for that. We don't need to worry for this. The next one is not eligible. This means that this is not eligible, right? That just means it's not eligible. It could be a few different reasons. It might be not eligible because it's outside of the date range. Maybe it's before 15 days, maybe it's after 90 days. There could be other things that make it ineligible. Maybe it's a phone that came from a big box retailer. Maybe a plan isn't eligible for the promo, something like that. Those are the things that can contribute to this being not eligible. The last one is discrepancy, and this is the one that we want to go ahead and take a look at. So when I click on this reimbursement status, it sorts all the discrepancies to the top. You might have to click it 1 or 2 times in order to get it to show. But we're going to look right up here. And I can see that there are 4 devices up here that show a discrepancy. So when I look to the column next to it, I see this is the eligible reimbursement. So I was eligible to get $202.49 for reimbursement. I've been paid out $2.50. There's no pending reimbursement right now. So right now I've got $199.99 that are potentially owed to me. There's potentially an issue there. So the question is, okay, what do I want to do? Because I would like that $200 back. So what you're going to do is within this line, you'll notice there's an arrow over here. What I want you to do is you're going to click on that arrow down and a button's going to pop up that's going to show view details. So we're going to click on this view details. And here we go. We have 2 different sections in the details. We have our payments and we have our discrepancies. Payments, this is everything, all the payments that I received for that device. So I did receive payment for month 1 for the 5G certified device. I received my SIM card reimbursement and I got month 1 of my new activation bounty. Great, love it. Now, here are the discrepancies. I am missing the 5G network bounty for month 1, and I am missing the Q3 promo pick for this device. Very important. So what I'm going to do is you'll see there's a couple other arrows here. We love a good arrow. We're going to click on that arrow, and there's your escalate button. So what you're going to do is you're going to click this escalate button. All of the information for that device is already here, so we don't need to input any of that data. All you need to input are comments about it. What happened with the activation? Give those specifics that you would normally give with the old process. You're going to plug that in there. And again, there's no attachment, so you can't attach any screenshots or photos. You do have to write everything in, and then you're going to click OK. And that is going to escalate that discrepancy. Now, in this example, there are 2 discrepancies. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click on the arrow. I'm going to click on escalate, insert all of the applicable comments about this, and then I'm going to click OK. And that is going to escalate it. If we're going to submit an escalation, dish activation, dish payment status report, scroll over and sort for the reimbursement status and the commission status that shows discrepancy. Click view details, pull up the details, and then escalate anything that is a discrepancy. So let's say you've done all of that, you have submitted escalations, and now you want to check on the status of that escalation. Great, love it. What you're going to do is you are going to go into dish activations, and then you're going to go to this last report called dish escalation status report. And in here, again, we're just going to tighten up the dates. If you guys want to pull it off for the month, you guys are welcome. Just because this is so much data, I am going to only pull up a certain amount. This will already populate for you guys, so you don't need to worry about inputting all of those things. This will already show. And so this is going to give you a report. Right now, there is no data to display because there are no escalations that have happened. Once you do have escalations, then it will give you all of this information. So it will give you the escalation ID, payment type, all of this, and it will also give you updates then. It will let you know, hey, when was it last updated? What is the current escalation status? And then any notes as well about it. So you will be able to follow up on all of your escalations here, dish activations, escalation status report, and it will all be in here. So that is how you submit a missing transaction, submit an escalation, and then check on the status of it. All right. So hold on, guys. We're almost there. Let's talk about some FAQs. Like I mentioned, the browser that is compatible with PRE is Google Chrome. So make sure that you are in Google Chrome. Let's say the rule of thumb when you are going to submit an escalation because you found a discrepancy, the rule of thumb is if the escalate button shows, escalate it and make sure to include clear comments on it. If the button does not show, let's say there is a discrepancy and for whatever reason, the escalate button does not show, then use the legacy appeal system. That is what we are calling the old system, is the legacy appeal system. You also want to make sure when you use the old system, if you're using it, to include in your comments that the escalate button did not show in the PRE in this new system. So that way they know, hey, you tried it there, but it didn't show up, so you needed to use the legacy system. Another question came up is the transaction I would like to escalate is not in the payment status report. What should I do? In that case, you want to make sure to submit a missing transaction report. So make sure if you're like, hey, I know I did this transaction, I'm not seeing in the payment status report, great, go ahead and submit it. Now, what should you do if PRE identifies a discrepancy incorrectly? So let's say the system says, hey, there is a discrepancy for a reimbursement of $100, but really you're owed $150. When those things happen, Boost and we have sent out a Google form. It's called the problem reporting form. Use that to report those discrepancies so they can fix them on the back end. Like I talked about earlier, can I use my owners or multi-door portal? Absolutely. Yes, that is great. Even if you are a single door owner, you can use a multi-door portal. Go ahead and reach out to your account manager or customer service if you are missing your logins for that. Now, what if ePay says the device doesn't exist in the old system and the new system? Then you are going to submit a missing transaction in the new system, in this PRE system that we're walking through. Now, let's say the system is not allowing you to submit an escalation or select a drop-down response. In this case, make sure to clear your browser's cache and history and try it again. Because what happens is with this system, as updates are, as ePay launches new updates, the old data in your browser can cause issues. So once you clear that out, then the updates can work, and you should be able to, you shouldn't have those issues. Obviously, if you do, then go ahead and reach out to your account manager. Now, if for some reason you are not able to submit an escalation in the new system, then go ahead and submit it through the legacy or the old appeal system. So overall, use the new system, use this PRE system. It is streamlined. It is making things a lot easier for you guys. If there are issues like we mentioned with the new system, then go ahead and use the legacy appeal system. In the new system, if the escalate button shows up, then go ahead and escalate it. When you do look at the history of the escalations, you will see in there the ones that VHA has already escalated on your behalf. So you do not need to re-escalate those. But when you check on the history of the escalations, it will show that operations at Eureka Revenue has already submitted it, then you don't need to worry about it. You know that we have gotten that. So I have shared a lot. You guys have been so patient. I appreciate that. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. So we have the next 20 minutes to answer questions. And so with that, let's go here. I will open it up and you guys can either unmute yourself or post your questions in the chat, and we will do our best to answer whatever questions you have. Or maybe I was super clear.
Hello, Martha.
Hi, Ivan.
Hello.
I don't
Hey,
know why that comment was funny.
No, you were very clear. I mean, very simple. I've been actually doing all this, a long time ago. I mean, this system just add to more clarity to some of the appeals and the escalation. So it just makes it simpler. But I have a question.
Wait.
If we are on the CAP program, I just noticed a couple of discrepancy things. And to be honest with you, I mean, I haven't even seen that tab of the dish activations, and I right away went to it, and I mean, I found one of the transactions that said discrepancy, and I obviously went to it, and it was already escalated. So if we're on the CAP program, that I'm assuming you guys are doing that for us.
Yes, that is a safe assumption. The other thing that you can do is in that report, check the email address that it came from, and it will be coming from operations@eurekarevenue.com. Excuse me, eurekarevenue.com. And so as long as that's the email address, then yes, we're the ones that submitted it.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you, Ivan. Excuse me, what other questions do you guys have? Sandra, I know you had a couple that you maybe wanted to ask earlier.
I came on a little late, so I wanted to know, was this recorded?
Yes, so this has been recorded, and so we will send this out to you guys and post it so you guys can access it whenever you need to, because I know there's a lot to the process for sure.
Okay, thank you so much, Martha.
Of course, Sandra. What other questions do you guys have?
Good afternoon. Earlier, you said that Boost Mobile, when you do a ESN swap, they pay for the second IMEI, but to my understanding, they only pay for the first IMEI. They never pay for the second IMEI.
Yes, so Gabriel, it depends. It depends on how quickly the swap was done. That will determine what Boost paid out. So let's say you activated a device and the customer has some issues with it and they swap it for a different device, let's say after 5 days, just to make it easier. Now, Boost maybe already paid you out for the first, they already out for that SN. But then when you're reconciling commissions and you're looking for your second month bounties and your third month bounties, that will be under the new ESN. So that's why I'm saying you will need to make sure that you're checking those other ESNs, because when swaps happen, the subsequent payouts will be under the new ESN.
Just to add to that, Martha, I mean, they can also
Understood,
use
thank you.
Yeah.
they can also use the number, you know, to track that, and it will track both of the ESNs on the same report under the commission payment detail.
Yes. Yep. Thank you, Ivan. Yeah, so you can check under ESN, you can check under their phone number, and you can check under that subscriber ID or that customer ID. It's the same thing that I showed you in those reports. Okay, so
Yeah,
oh, hold on
Yeah.
just a second. I got a question in the chat that I'm going to read out loud and then respond to. So the question is, so let's say even after escalation, for some reason, the escalation is denied, and we have proof that the rebate or commission was incorrectly denied. What action can we take to rectify the issue? Thank you for asking this question. Today, I do not have an answer for you because Boost has not ironed that out. As soon as they do come up with that process, we will let you know right away for what that's going to look like. All right, Malik, what's your question?
Yes, my question is, maybe you can help me to understand. I already have one similar kind of dispute already submitted. I spoke to Yadira about it. A customer actually did an important activation. We gave them a brand new phone, Moto G stylus, and somehow they got the phone, but they're willing to use their own BYOD device, but they still want to get the phone because they were porting out. So there was no call made on that phone. So I did not get paid the port-in credit. So what is the legal policy on that one? Do the phone have to be used for a certain time in order we will get the port-in credit, or once we activate the IMEI number, or we will get the port-in credit?
That's that's a good question. We don't know the policy on those yet, but we will definitely let you know.
Okay, please. Thank you. That will be very helpful. Yes,
Yeah.
a lot of time it happens, people who are knowledgeable, they're adding a line. Okay, I want to use my phone, but I want to keep another phone for my future. And they do get the phone. As soon we activate, we give them the phone, they walk out, they take the SIM card out from that phone and put it into the BYOD, and then nothing in our control, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. So in that case, my recommendation is just submit the escalation if that's possible and explain it in the comments.
Okay, because I have a same kind of a case already I'm just submitted the appeal already. So I just want to make sure. Okay, that'd be all. Thank you, dear.
Yeah, thank you. These are great questions, guys. I think I have another one in the chat. Give me a second here. Okay, so if a customer changes the ESN due to it being lost, damaged, etc., what is the time period where the swap will not affect bounties? Alex, can you be more specific on that? Because it won't affect bounties. Well, it won't necessarily affect bounties. It's really just more of being able to track where the commission is coming in from. Because if they swap the ESN, then the commission is going to start getting paid out on that new ESN. Okay, great. Thank you, Alex. What other questions do you guys have?
I have a question here.
Yes.
I went to under this payment status report, an ordinary report, just to go over what you just mentioned. And I went to the reimbursement status under, and I sort them by order. And under discrepancy, have a long day, sorry. And it looks like they paid some, and there is $44.99 still in pending. I clicked on view details, And it looks like they put the reason because the phone, it's two phones we sold them by Pago. And it said because I believe it's not at the line. That's the reason they mentioned. And it's not even 15 days yet. In this case, do I have to wait and keep watching it, or do I have to submit the escalation?
I can take that. I think Martha got disconnected again. So if it hasn't been the 15 days since the activation, I would recommend that you wait. If it's already been the 15 days, then you can go ahead and submit the escalation.
Thank you.
No problem.
So I have another question. Since they changed the policy to the 30 days return, so that means is that we have to wait whole 30 days, and after that we can submit an appeal or something? Or is it like we can do after a certain time?
Malik, I'm sorry, I missed some of that. So you're saying with the new RMA policy, how does that affect escalations?
Correct. So if there's a 30 days policy, and do we have to wait exact 30 days to submit an appeal for any missing rebates or something? Or can we do after 10 days, 12 days, or any time frame on that?
Yeah, so you can submit the appeal. So if there's any sort of escalation that needs to happen, the time frame for that is 15 days to 90 days. Now, if this is an RMA where the customer returns the device, let's say you see, hey, I didn't get paid out. It's day 16. I can go ahead and submit the escalation through ePay. So you would submit the escalation, and let's say the customer then comes back for customer remorse the next week. So it's still within that 30 days and after you've already submitted that escalation. What will happen is, since you're doing an RMA, you will get reimbursed for the device, and then Boost will charge you back. Once that phone registers as an RMA, Boost will charge you back that difference. And then I don't know the specifics, but I'm assuming there would be some sort of cancellation of that escalation.
Okay, thank you, Martha. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you, Malik. Love these questions. What else? What other questions do you guys have?
So Martha, back in the past, we used to have 60 days to submit escalations. What's the time frame now with the 30-day policy? Is that
With
90
the
now?
30-day RMA policy?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have to submit escalations. You have between 15 days to 90 days.
From the RMA being returned, or from
So the
the activation date?
Yeah, so the RMA is a different process. This is just for escalations. If a device gets returned, Boost is going to pay everything on the back end, because when it's the 30-day return policy, which if a customer returns that device, they can only return it for buyer's remorse, in which case when you submit the RMA and it gets approved, you're going to get a credit memo for the cost of that phone. So you don't need to worry about any reimbursements for that device, because you're going to get made whole when the device is RMA'd. So that is like a separate thing than the escalations. The escalations are just for commissions that you haven't been paid out. We don't quite have the business rules for this, but if my assumption is that there will be right fitting of whatever commissions were paid for an RMA, that if any commissions that were paid to a device that does get RMA, that those get charged back on the back end. But I want to make this big caveat, Ivan, I do not have the business rules for that. So that is my assumption, but these are two separate things.
Right. No, I was mainly asking as far as before it was 60 days, and now it's 90, which makes sense. That's That's all that I was asking. You
Yep.
answered. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Ivan. I hope that was helpful. Right. Well, if there are no other questions, thank you guys so much for coming to the training. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was valuable for you guys. Like I mentioned, we have recorded this, so we will post it so you guys can view it. You and your team too, if not everyone was able to be here. And we will send that out to you along with all the resources that you need. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Enjoy the holiday weekend. And yeah, I look forward to the next time we get to talk. Good luck, guys. Happy selling.